Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Sometimes it just likes to be, hey, do you want to record at 0% volume? And I'm like, you know,
sure.
I'm not sure if that would work, but you know, I trust you, I guess. Like, if this is what you want in your heart of hearts.
It's decided this is a ASMR.
Yeah.
Just your audio is the ASMR.
Yeah. I'm just gonna whisper real soft, you know? Real sensual style.
Sure, this is the episode to review and make an ASMR one.
Yeah, I think that's thematically appropriate.
Oh no. No thank you. No thank you is my response to that.
Yeah.
Though that would be a hard pivot for just some casual listeners who maybe like, you know, spend a couple months and they just decide to pop back in. And they're like, oh no. Yeah. Random pivot.
Yeah, a bit of an unsettling tone.
Right.
Not really the vibe. Ooh.
Yeah, welcome into Twilight. This will never turn into an ASMR podcast. We don't have the voices for that.
No. We are both vocally incapable of doing that.
We sonically don't. That'll never happen.
Yeah.
You will be able to... We are two voices that you'll be able to hear across the room. Yeah. So, you don't need to worry about that. You're good.
You're safe here.
You are more likely to pop back into this podcast and us be imitating selling hot dogs at a baseball stadium than this be an ASMR of doing your hair or whatever the fuck ASMR videos are. So, don't worry about it. You're safe here.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm here. I am surviving the heat because we got a new fancy little window AC unit, which has changed my life. So rip to that old one. She was on death's door probably a year ago. So, you know, we're here. We're thriving. It has Wi-Fi for some reason. Don't know why it needs that, you know, but sure. Why not?
If y'all have learned nothing, you don't need products to have Wi-Fi in them.
I don't think it needs that. I don't know why. Like, it already has a remote and buttons on the thing, so I feel like I don't also need my phone to get involved. But, you know, sure. Why not?
My washing machine and dryer have Wi-Fi. And I've never set them up. Because why would I need that?
No. But I am here bringing to the space, very on theme, on trend.
I'm so proud of you.
Because I have Twister fever, baby.
Are you wanting to talk about Too Twister, Too Furious, or the OG Twister that I've watched on like TNT a million times?
We're talking OG, singular.
Let's
Twister.
go.
Twister 1, not the squeakquel.
This
Though I do appreciate so hard to make like a reboot or a sequel of like a beloved kind of movie and just pluralizing it instead of being like Twister 2. No, give me 2 Twisters, you know? Give me a Twister 100%. Plural.
Their marketing has been so good.
Completely. I see those fucking Twister booths all over the place. I'm like, y'all are, hey, this is probably not great, given, you know, the Newtons and stuff. But, you know, I appreciate everything that they're doing. They're, like, playing the actual board game Twister. They're doing lots of, I love them. They're very charming. Big fan. But I had never seen original Twister before last night. And I was like, you know what? Everyone's talking about it.
Right.
I do have a hankering for, like, a disaster movie. I love that shit.
100%,
and
yeah.
This movie's fucking so good. Nobody told me this was, like, the best movie ever. And I, maybe I'm late to the party. I admit that. But what the fuck? This is the best movie.
I also, listen, I've seen it many times because it was on TV all the time.
Yeah.
I bet I've probably never sat down and watched it end to end, but I've seen it multiple times because it was on TV a lot. But that movie rips.
It rips so hard, and not just because, like, oh, big twister, right? Because, like, that's cool, and, like, oh, I'm seeing a cow, like, fly CGI style on the screen. Like, that's objectively cool, and, like, cars flying around, very cool. But also, like, everyone is good and hot in it.
Yes.
It's a very sexy, like, divorce movie.
Yes.
In a great way. And, obviously, Helen Hunt.
Oh, my God. Love of my life.
Like, love of all of our lives, our moms and our wives.
Yes.
In many ways, in many forms.
And it reminds me a lot.
Puts on a fucking show.
Not only did Twister, with a lot of the movies back then, like, I remembered when Twister came out and it was like, it got a lot of people into meteorology and, like, disaster chasing, which cool. Love that.
Yeah.
But also, especially with the still that you pulled, what I love about movies, what I saw growing up is that, like, the actors were hot, and they were age appropriate hot, and, like, sure, they probably, because they were actors, of course they had access to, like, makeup and skincare and stuff, but, like, they look like they're in their 30s, and they look hot. And it's just not the same now.
Yeah.
It's so different of, like, yes, I do want to see a guy in double denim. And he looks beautiful. Thank you for your service. I want to see
Alan Ruck, babyface, but also adult man.
Right.
Driving down, chasing a fucking twister, tornado. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, love of my life. My Holy Spirit. Being so... just everything in this movie. Having a blast.
Just looks like he fits in.
And looking hot as fuck. Yeah.
Right.
Just like everyone is all across the board. Good and hot and funny in this movie.
Yes.
And it's fucking awesome.
Oh. Movies, man. They're just not the same.
And them leaning so hard into, like, the Wizard of Oz thing is so fucking funny. It's so good. It's like, literally having, like, a Karen Terrier getting almost snapped up by a tornado in the first scene. And then being like, all right, this is going to be the trauma that builds my life because I lost my dad to a literal tornado because he got snapped out of there by a tornado. Crazy. And then being like, all right, fuck it. Let's lean into it and build this machine called Dorothy with a literal picture of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz slapped onto it. That's cinema, baby. We used to make movies.
We used to make movies,
We used to make fucking movies. But I am excited for the Squeakquel, Twisters, plural. I am unfortunately getting, like, the Glen Powell thing, Like, I was trying to be resistant of it, but I think he has worn me down in a way I can't ignore, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But I'm here for it. He does have a little charisma that I can't deny.
Shout out to his PR team, because they're doing the work right now.
Overtime. Like, it's bananas, but I respect it so heavily.
Listen, I think that we are very vocally critical of, like, remakes and and squeakquels. I think that what I'm noticing about Twisters to the Squeakquel is I've been seeing it and I have been interested in it in a way that like Ghostbusters didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I was also not interested when it was being marketed to me because I was like, for why? And that's wild because my brother was in that movie.
Right, and your literal blood relative.
And I will never go on Ancestry.com or 23andMe to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that my biological brother is in that movie.
Right. And I think, too, that's, like, the distinction, right? Where it's all of these sequels that we have, or reboots that we have fatigue over, are very much like, let's build out the IP, baby.
Right.
But it's like, this is not like, oh man, I love the Twister cinematic universe. I can't wait to see. What's Spider-Man gonna do in a tornado? Like, it doesn't feel, it's just like, this is a cool
hold on.
idea for, well, I mean, yes. Now that I said it out loud, I kind of would like to see that. But
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Right. It doesn't feel as desperate to be like, oh man, it's all of your favorite guys doing stunts. And it's like, no, I just want to see people chase big tornado. Right. And that's cool. We can make a million movies of these and I'll be like, yeah, these are all worth it. Should have been made. Especially
as someone from the Pacific Northwest where, like, tornadoes don't happen here. So I'm naturally already very scared by tornadoes. And I remember when I saw Twisters for the first time, I was like, absolutely not. Right. I remember when I saw Wizard of Oz for the first time, I was like, I'm going to have nightmares about this forever. Thanks.
Yeah. Right.
It's so good. It's so good. Thank you so much for this movie.
Yeah, thank you for everyone involved. Thank you for just the concept of tornadoes.
Yeah, nature's cool.
Yeah.
It's just climate change is no good.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm persisting.
Sure. Yeah. Against all odds.
Against all odds. I'm here. My happy thing this week is also something that is relevant to the culture.
Okay.
To the zeitgeist, that some might be familiar with and have heard on TikTok. And that is the very critical audio of a young child singing, quote, poorly. You might know it of a child being like thinking about so many things, just want to get better.
Yeah. The hits, the classics.
The hits, the classics. I don't know the context of that because I started Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Oh my god, yeah.
So I've gone back to my original plan of watching Real Housewives in the order that they started. Mm-hmm. Chronologically. And that meant that New Jersey was the next one for me. Hey, this show is bonkers.
Yeah.
It
really go places.
I thought that Beverly Hills was wild because there was like sibling drama. New Jersey is that times like 5. Because it is all in the family. And every episode, I usually put this on and I just like leave it on. I do work, I clean the house, I do all this stuff. There have been multiple times where I've just been like a dad watching the Eras Tour, where I have my hands on the back of the couch like, what the fuck is happening? Because it starts off where every Real Housewife is related to each other. We got sisters, we got sister-in-laws, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, this is so bad, but I can't stop watching. I also didn't realize, I mistakenly thought that Salt Lake City was the first time that we had criminals. Nope. Nope. New Jersey started that off. We got Oops All Crimes.
Oops, almost exclusively crimes. Yeah.
Oops. Oops. There are lots of crimes here. And now I know the context of this sweet child singing. She's not singing poorly. She's just a child. She's just singing.
Right.
And it became a meme. And it's a really fucking sad moment when it happens in the show because her mom and her uncle are fighting.
Yeah.
And she's just crying so badly. Anyways, the show's awful, but also is giving so much more context to the Real Housewives universe. I cannot stop.
Yeah. Once you're peeling the onion in a way that you really can't ignore. And it changes everything. It's
also unfortunate because I'm Italian, and so there's a lot, like, it really does bring forth a lot of Italian blood in me.
Sure.
but not in a good way. This is not good. Very similar to Jersey Shore, right? It's not good Italian representation. But I do love it. It's the problem.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anyways, it's very I'm getting a lot more context to the Bravo universe that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
So it's a happy thing, but also there's so many crimes. Oh no. They're not good people. They're not good people. But that's not why I watch Bravo, so it's okay.
Right. So we're good.
We have a piece of current events this week that I don't know if you chose your happy thing to tie into this, but congrats.
Yeah, I love to be on trend.
Right. Our current event is about Glen Powell. But it's
Man of the hour.
And you might be like, how's that related to Twilight? Well, just you wait. So this came up in our Google Digest. Thank you, Stylecaster and Leah Veloso, for this very thorough timeline of Glen Powell's dating history. I was not aware that Glen Powell, one, existed before Top Gun.
Right. Sure.
I thought that Top Gun
weren't
Maverick...
there during Scream Queens. Y'all weren't there.
I thought that he just they just pulled him out of, I don't know, a Hollywood closet.
Yeah, no, Tom Cruise built him from a tube.
No, literally,
like,
that's
you're gonna
exactly
be my
what I
action
thought.
star successor. Yeah.
I thought that he was just like made from Hollywood jelly for Top Gun Maverick. I didn't realize that he dated Nina Dobrev.
That's so fascinating.
So, according to this, from 2017 to 2018, they dated.
That's so wild.
Which, now, that goes against my theory that he just existed for Top Gun Maverick.
Right, yeah, he does have a corporeal form before then, which is questionable, right?
Right.
That does really put a hamper on things.
So, Nina Dobrev made him famous, is what I'm taking from this.
I love, too, that this piece says that they split due to busy schedules.
Yeah, Miss Ma'am, what were you
That's a
doing
fun way
back
to
then?
describe a celebrity breakup, which I guess is true. Like, it does happen where people are just like, yeah, we don't, like, talk anymore because we're booked and busy. But it's just a wild way to, like, have a relationship fall apart.
Right. I feel like, honestly, if I were famous, that would be the best kind of relationship.
Yeah. Being like, yeah, I'll see you when I see you, you know? Like,
Yeah.
when we both have, like, you know, a week off from our various projects, we'll just, like, fuck around and vibe.
And maybe
then
that's
we're back to the
different.
grind.
Maybe that's different when you're famous because you have a ton of, like, yes men around you and you actually just want,
Sure.
like, comfort. But it sounds ideal.
Yeah, sounds pretty nice, you know?
Sounds pretty great. But apparently, apparently they were together for a year and I was not aware of this before. He looks like a golden retriever turned into a human.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I've just seen a lot of this dude's face, is all.
Right.
That's all. But I'm, again, not complaining. I just was not aware of the connection.
Yeah. It's all connected.
It is. It really is. It really
escape.
was. Okay. So last week, things got intense.
Yeah, baby.
Woo. Bonnie died. Asterisk.
Right.
She's not dead. She's fine now. Elijah's no longer dead.
Right, no longer just perpetually stabbed.
Catherine is essentially just Klaus's puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Not great.
Yeah.
That's what you missed on Glee. How are you feeling about Klaus, the episode?
Klaus the episode, Klaus the man.
Klaus the enigma.
The enigma, yeah. The who really is Klaus? What the fuck is that?
That's a great response. Yeah.
Because I think like this whole time, right? This season in particular, we've had like the looming threat of like, ooh, werewolves, right? Like that's,
sure.
Always like a dormant threat.
Yeah.
Kind of fell off. Right. Like we kind of fell off a little bit on it being really relevant or interesting as far as like characters. Like they went off, they're fucking around doing their own thing.
Yes.
And we're just like, okay. And now it's like, okay, it's originals. I guess we're thinking about this is big bad. This is what's going on. This is Klaus, baby. This is something we don't understand. And now we're in this zone where it's like, okay, let's... Y'all forgot that werewolves are a thing in here? How about we integrate this in a very interesting way?
They really said it's all connected, but not in a way of like... One of my favorite parts of this episode was Elijah being like, so this all sounds really biblical, right?
Right. I know what you're thinking.
I know what
Coming
you're thinking.
Coming from a man named Elijah.
coming from a man named Elijah, I have 7 siblings, right? There's 7 of us. Sure. There's a curse here. This all sounds really biblical, right? The sun and the moon. I know where your mind's going, Elena. Looking directly into the camera, Elijah is.
You're right.
You're thinking, right, like, why would God do this? Well, we're called the original family. We made it all up. That's the answer.
Yeah, the answer is we're all just kind of playing fast and loose with that term. And y'all believed it, so, kind of on you for not questioning it.
And my brother, Klaus, he's not my full brother.
Right.
Some might say, like the devil.
Right.
Sure. He's not full-blooded vampire.
Yeah, he's kind of a bastard son.
Right.
Not really in the same vein as us. And I love it too, because he's like, originally, like, more closer to the beginning of this episode, he's like, yeah, fun fact, Klaus is actually my brother, and that's supposed to be like big mic drop, and Elena's kind of like, okay, we're like, I think I've heard something about
It felt
that.
pretty obvious, Elijah.
Right, like you guys were kind of like, very scorned in a way. Like she's like, I know how fucked up brothers are, you know what I mean? Like I'm basically dating 2 of them right now, so like, I kind of know how this whole dynamic works right now. But
Elijah, it felt pretty obvious when you were like, I'm not gonna let anyone else kill him. I need to be the one to kill him. And it's like, either you're fucking or your family. So
right. Yeah, it's like nobody's that committed to making sure that you are the one who does this, unless there's a real personal connection, my guy.
Right, exactly.
But thank you for letting me in.
He felt so annoyed by that too. He was like, so you're not shocked? That wasn't like a big twist?
She was like, yeah, I was just kind of like reading between the lines, but yeah, imagine if she was just like, oh my god, whoa.
Whoa, bestie, thanks for trusting me with that.
Yeah, that's like so... I didn't realize we were like that, like that close.
So you moved me up on your top 8 is what I'm guessing, right?
Like, oh yeah, that was such a big surprise. Don't worry. No, it was a big reveal. It was really cool and good.
No, Elijah, don't run away. I was like super shocked.
It was really, I'm just like processing, like, it really took me off guard. I didn't know.
They had like a real girls day though.
They really did. They were gabbing. They were having a real field day.
They went and got like fast food because Elijah had that blood bag. Right. They said no devices. Like we have to be.
Said we're off the grid. Unplug, baby.
They went and got new outfits.
Yeah.
He said OMG at one point.
Oh my god, I did write that down because that was so funny. Because that was that part of that reveal where she was like, yeah, I heard that. That's cool. And he was like, I think the human term you're thinking of is OMG. And it's like, whoa.
I love him. I love him.
Okay, girly pop. Okay.
I love him so much.
Oh my god, also speaking of blood bags, a very funny scene for me is at the very beginning where Damon is, in his slut era.
God.
Because he's processing not well. You know how it goes.
He's having a fucking day this episode.
Yeah, he's going through some stuff. And apologies to this woman, I don't recall her name.
Andy, I think is her name.
Andy. And she's like, hey babe, love you so much. Could you maybe have a blood bag today? Because I gotta go to work. And I love that communication, She's like, I would love to so much right now for you to just like, just take it out of me, but I am late. So if you can just like slap a little Capri Sun right now and you'll be good, that would be preferable for me. Thank you.
Weirdly, I loved Andy this episode.
Yeah.
And that is shocking.
She was doing some good work in here.
There were moments, because usually, we've seen Andy a couple of episodes. Usually she's just, I don't know, she doesn't stand out to me. But there was that moment, there was the moment when Andy and Damon do their full, like, Twin Peaks, go and investigate the apartment.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And her being like, oh, damn, she does look a lot like Elena. Then I was like, girl, how much do you know? You are a liability.
Yeah, at this point, you are getting too close to the situation. That is not good.
And then her at the end, with Damon being like, listen.
Yeah.
I want to be able to comfort you in this moment because you didn't compel me to leave. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Andy's going to die in this episode. She has lasted way too long. But she like I wrote down notes about her, and usually I don't process that she's even in a scene, which is good on that actress. She was great.
Right. Yeah. And even to call it growth is a bit of a stretch because the bar is on the floor. But Damon being like, hey, I'm so close to killing you right now, but I need you to leave right now instead of me doing that, I
fully thought she was gone, girl.
Yeah. Like, all right, the most minimal amount of growth, but hey, you're not taking your feelings out on the woman you were fucking. So that's good, And who
you've called disposable more than once.
Here. Right, yeah, very explicitly, yeah. Yeah, so, baby steps, right?
Yeah. Well, because he was he was an exposed nerve this whole episode.
Yes, he was very cantankerous.
He woke up being an asshole, and Damon already is. Right. But he was being pushed multiple times, and usually you would expect Damon to just snap. And he did a little when he started fighting Stefan at the end, but I thought, because we've seen this happen before, I thought that he was going to take it out on Andy because she showed just a modicum of compassion towards him. And that he cannot handle because he hates himself.
Right. Yeah.
So it, again, bars on the ground to be like, I need you to get out because I can't do this right now. But usually, even a couple of episodes ago, she would have been out of the picture.
Immediately dead. Yeah. So quick. Yeah.
I found it interesting that we did not spend... I was expecting us to spend more time in the flashback. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, they were very brief moments.
Because I don't think that we needed it, both as a viewer, but also I think that Elena knew that Elijah and Klaus were related. But the way that they chose to break it up throughout the episode to make it very clear that Elijah was seeing... Because he was coming out of being dead. I even think he says that at one time. which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm still feeling dead right now. I need to take a second. But they were using the flashbacks to kind of mimic him coming out of that, like, dead space and seeing Elena as Catherine and then seeing Stefan and Damon as his interactions with his brothers was a smart choice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, making those parallels, I think, was a really smart move.
Because it wasn't like, from an audience perspective, it didn't feel like they were treating us like we didn't get it. It felt like Elijah was in that moment, which I thought was interesting. His hair in the flashback was so distracting, though.
It really took me out. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but it was comical. There was a lot going on.
There was just... The choices in the flashback was really hard because you're going to give Elijah this really distracting hair. But Klaus, not a Laurie Klaus, which they've decided is a thing now.
Right.
But Klaus had a full-on, like, modern leather jacket in 1492. So what are we even doing?
What's going on, y'all?
Right.
What's happening?
How did you feel about new, I guess, like, real Klaus? Like, the new actor that we hadn't seen before.
New real Klaus. He's scary looking.
He's so scary.
He's really scary. They did good on that because, you know, I think, especially since we know Rick, and I did appreciate, you know, Klaus's run inside of Rick's body. That was a real treat. I was really into that. But I think we were also so used to him as an actor and stuff and being like, okay, let's actually get the full realized, like, peak version of Klaus. And yeah, that's a scary man.
He
very threatening.
Is incredibly threatening. There are a couple things that I'm thinking about now because the only thing that I knew going into this show was that Caroline at some point is with Klaus. Which...
Okay.
Knowing... Because I'd seen... That was, like, the only thing on Tumblr that I had seen.
Yeah.
When this show was, like, going on. Which, knowing now the context of this episode that he's a hybrid, I'm wondering if that is what endears Caroline when they meet. Because we saw so much of her sympathizing with Tyler.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think was more so of, like... I think it had less to do with him being a werewolf specifically, and more just, like, he had no control over any of that. But now I'm just really curious of, like... This is the bastard son of the like, the original family.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
Yeah.
Which makes me very curious on there. But I was also wondering as well, and I wanted to know your opinion on this. We know that Alaric and Damon have been on, like, not hunts, but they've done things together.
Yeah.
They've gotten weapons and stuff. Like, they've hung out. Why could Damon not go into his apartment?
Yeah, that is confusing.
And I wasn't sure if they were trying to do the same thing that happened with Elijah. Of, like, it's no longer Alaric, it's Klaus.
Right. And he has not gotten permission from Klaus as Rick. Yeah, I think that's probably what they're implying here, but we're getting a little in the weeds here with who is allowed entry and not.
Because Klaus isn't on the lease.
Right, yeah. Right. Where does it end and begin of if you're inhabiting another body?
Yeah.
If you own a title to a house. Like, I have questions.
It just
Logistics here are confusing to me.
It feels logistically wild to think that Damon would have never gone into Rick's apartment at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Unless Rick has really good boundaries and he was like, listen, I consider you my friend, but I don't trust you. Like, I don't know. Right. Maybe not.
Yeah, not like that, though. You know,
not like that, though.
Like, you can stay on the porch, but I got my cool guns and stuff in here, so we're not gonna get you in there.
Yeah, maybe not, I guess. I fully expected the writers to forget about Elijah and the new, like, with Elena signing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect them to follow through with that.
Yeah.
And so the way that they were like, you know? The way that they tried to think, like, his body was, like, breaking or something. I don't know how they were trying to explain that.
Right.
It was a choice. I found I feel like this is always how it is. Stefan was the least interesting part of this episode for me.
God, yeah. The only thing that was even remotely interesting was not even, he was the least interesting part of this scene, but he was present, of when Jenna has, like, the conversation with Rick/Klaus.
Yes.
And he's like, babe, I have a confession. I'm actually, like, super obsessed with vampires, and that's why I've been avoiding you and our relationship, ? Which, like, great save, dude. You're doing really good. And the only thing that's funny about this outside of the audacity is him being like, hey, man, do you think vampires are cool? And he's like, yeah, Dracula.
Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker, baby. And it's like, awesome. Cool.
That scene was not supposed to be funny, and it was hilarious.
So unserious. Just like, because, like, on one hand, it would maybe make sense as a cover because he's, like, a history teacher, right? And he's like, I'm interested in, like, the lore, or, like, I've read the books, and I'm, like, just curious in, like, a fantastical element. But he goes, like, super far into, like, to what sounds like to Jenna as, like, conspiracy theory stuff.
Yes.
Of being like, yeah, and then let's talk about werewolves. Let's talk about all these other cryptids. Like, hey, pull it back, man. You know, like, we're losing steam here on this. And rightfully so, Jenna's like, you're fucking what? You're fucking with me. Like, what is going on here?
And that's saying something, because Jenna volunteers with the Historical Society, and the Historical Society, like, factually has records of this stuff.
Right.
And so for her to look at Rick in this moment, who's Klaus, and tell him to get out, which is the most badass thing Jenna has done in this show, unintentionally, is wild. It was hard for me to feel sympathy for Jenna in the conversation near the end when Elena goes back to the Salvatore house. I think it was important for her to finally realize, like, everyone around her knows the truth.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much longer this show could go on where Jenna was in the dark. She was she was a liability.
Could you imagine she, like, makes it to the end of, like, season 8 or something, or however long this fucking show lasts, and she's, like, the whole time just has no idea what's going on? That would be so... Like, I know they're not gonna do that, but, like, if they committed to the bit like that, and her just being like, oh my god, things are happening, and it's, like, the end being like, what are you guys been doing for the last 6 years? Like, what's going on?
There was a moment, too, where Klaus said... He had threatened last episode to take over Jeremy, and he threatened this episode to take over Jenna. The most interesting character development for Jenna's character would have been to have Klaus inhabit her body.
God, yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Jenna could be doing stuff in an episode. That'd be huge.
I would have given everything to have seen her just be badass for once.
Ugh. What we could have had.
But now, we get more of Elena parentifying her aunt.
Yeah.
And having to be like, hey, so everyone knows.
Right. You're kind of the only one out of the loop here. Ooh,
and
yikes.
you sought shelter at a home of vampires.
Right.
So here's where we're at.
So that's what you missed on Glee.
That's so sorry about that. I gotta go though, because I made a promise to a vampire that I would come back.
Right.
Not a compulsion promise. We're trying to be friends again, and I gave him my word. So gotta go.
Yeah.
But you take care, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. So thought that was great. I didn't notice until she did get back to the Lockwood house. It is so wild that all of the shit is happening at the Lockwood house.
Yeah.
That Elena, in addition to having her standard like Converse on, she's wearing the titular 2011 jeans that have the fancy butt decals on them.
Yes.
And that is just, in addition to the Foster the People song, it just really like anchors you into this time period.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most compelling time capsules of this whole show. Just sequence.
I was never in that tax bracket to be able to afford those kind of jeans. Right. But you know Elena's an it girl because she had those jeans. So I appreciate it. I assumed that, because we've seen, I keep wanting to call him Max Martin, the witch that we've seen with Klaus a couple of times, that guy. Yeah. There was another witch that came in. I'm assuming that's the Martin daughter. Yeah. Which I need to know everything about her. I need to know her story. One of my favorite moments that I did write down was after Catherine took the vervain and she's just drinking bourbon and dancing with that lamp.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to turn these speakers up to 11, and I'm going to dance around because I'm just trapped here, essentially.
Yeah. I'm going to get Rick a noise complaint. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I'm going to make his landlords fucking pissed at him. And you know what? That's what I deserve. And I'm going to have a fucking night on the town inside of this house, inside of this one room.
Yeah, 100%.
I have a bone to pick.
Do it.
With our girl, Elena. Because, and this is a continuation from our complaints of last episode, which is everyone does not give Bonnie anything, right?
Which her and Jeremy were missed this episode, by the way.
They were missed this episode. We do not see them this episode. However, this whole time, Elena has been very dutiful, very martyr-like, being like, I'm not going to let Bonnie fucking die for me.
Correct.
Very noble, right? Very noble. And then she's having this fucking conversation with Elijah, and it's like, well, okay, since Klaus is technically both a vampire plus a werewolf, like a regular,
because that's a normal thing.
Dagger. Right, just, cryptids. A dagger, in the way that you would kill a vampire, would not, or kill an original vampire, would not work on him. Mm-hmm. So, like, he needs to be vulnerable, like, mid-transition or something, right? Yeah. Or in, like, a moment of weakness. And a witch would help with that, plus, like, a full moon situation.
Right.
And Elena is like, well, what if I told you I knew a witch who could channel a lot of that power and energy? Hello? Did we not have this conversation?
Correct.
Elena, about that much power, will kill her. And that was the reason you were like, can't.
Yeah, y'all had this conversation outside the school
like 2 seconds ago. What are you talking about? What is this flip? What happened? That's your girl. That's supposed to be your girl.
And also, Elijah knows who you're talking about.
Right,
Elijah almost got Bonnie killed.
Right, yeah. I think they're both doing, like, trying to be, like, reverse mic drop moments, and they're both like, yeah, we both have the same information. Like, it's not, like, a big reveal. It's okay. But, like, what? Excuse me. did Bonnie do something, like, in class or something that made you upset with her? And it's like, actually, maybe she should die so I can live. Like, what the fuck?
Bonnie actually didn't like Elena's Facebook status overnight. Yeah. And so Elena's like, you know what, actually, fuck it.
God damn.
I also have another bone to pick.
Fake friends here. Yeah.
With some of the lore that's in this episode.
Yeah.
Because I can follow along with the fact that the originals have just decided to, this Bulgarian family, that's the first family of vampires, has decided to colonize across the world and make up all of this lore. That they say the Aztec lore, the Egyptian lore, that's actually all of them. That it wasn't real. These curses are fake. Sure. That's not surprising. That sounds like something a white family would do. Great. It doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised we've got it in season 2. It doesn't surprise me that there is a hybrid here between a vampire and a werewolf. Stephenie Meyer really rocks with that shit. It's not surprising. What I am a little bit confused by is we saw in the flashback in 1492, which, like, of all fucking years, okay. Yeah.
Right.
We saw that Klaus was trying to court Catherine. Catherine wanted Trevor, who's apparently one of the brothers. I guess I didn't notice that when we saw him before. But Elijah was very obviously into Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine at this time was a doppelganger, which we knew because she was on the run. Who was the fucking original that Catherine was a copy of?
Yeah.
And how many copies have there been?
Yeah.
Who is the OG that Elena looks like? And how many Xerox copies have there been?
Yeah, how many clones of her exist? Because clearly what's going on? Has it just been Elena and then Catherine, who Klaus has been searching for 500 years, and then the original, the V1? And who's that? Right.
Because we haven't met that one.
How far back does this go? Yeah. God, I hope this ends like Orphan Black style, where there's just like a million Nina Dobrevs just like
that's the thing.
Around.
We haven't seen Nina Dobrev as the first one, whoever that is.
Yeah.
How many characters is Nina Dobrev gonna play? Is my question.
Right.
How many people is she credited on playing in the Vampire Diaries?
God, I hope it's 1 billion.
I hope at one point there's just an episode where she plays everyone.
Yeah, God. Yes, okay, everyone, dream episode of the Vampire Diaries. This is my pitch. Nina Dobrev is everyone, and then anyone else who is not Nina Dobrev is a Muppet.
No, literally. No, yes.
And also maybe there's a Muppet Nina Dobrev, you know, like that's optional. That's just something we could fold in, you know, we can still do that. She has the range, you know. That's what I want. If someone can write that fanfiction for me, I would really appreciate it.
Oh. No, this is perfect. They need to restart the show. I just need one. I think one.
We deserve this. Like, I think if we just build a time machine, change nothing else, don't, affect the space-time continuum in any way outside of giving us an episode.
She can do it. She can do it. I've seen it.
Give her a chance. Let her roam free.
I've seen her. She has the range. Just let her cook, please.
Cook. I need it so bad.
Oh my god. The thing that I'm so scared about is, like, so this is episode 19. We now have the real Klaus. Mm-hmm. Who they shipped, I guess, in a box.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't maybe shipping took a while. I don't know why they needed to take Alaric first. I'm nervous because supposedly in this we're almost at a full moon, and the current plan is that he is going to do this ritual to not to remove the curse like he had said, but apparently it's so that he can start his bloodline to ascend. It sounds very gross, is the way that, like, Klaus is going to become his final form, like Mewtwo or whatever the fuck. And the way that they're describing next episode, it's called The Last Day, which sounds bad. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's not really inspiring a lot of confidence, I'll say that.
Yeah. And now that Elena is on team, let's throw Bonnie to the fucking wolves. For real.
How about we just kill her to save ourselves? Which was the plan to begin with, and y'all were just pretending you were too good for it. So, look how this is shaking out. Fake friends.
I'm nervous because Damon's in a mood. Stefan is all, like, self-sacrificey, blaming himself again. Elena still fine to sacrifice herself, but now is fine with sacrificing Bonnie. Alaric is still in that room, but he had a moment of, like, consciousness before he dropped. Scary.
Yeah.
Jenna knows stuff now.
Right.
Not good. She's in a mood.
No.
I don't know where Bonnie and Jeremy are. I'm freaking the fuck out, and nobody seems to be worried about it here.
Everyone thinks this is fine.
Everybody seems to be fine because they're not communicating with each other. Catherine's drunk.
Right. Yeah. She's gonna have a bad morning tomorrow, for sure. She's not gonna be her best self.
And the Antichrist is in Mystic Falls.
Yeah. But just like it's like a regular Tuesday, you know? It's just, you know, hanging out.
I thought this was gonna be a funny show where we made fun of stuff. And now it stresses me out.
Yeah.
But at least there's Foster the People, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we got Foster People. We got Likey Lee in this episode. We can't complain.
And we got the jeans with the fancy butt decals. So a win is a win, I guess.
So true. Absolutely.
So next episode looks like the part in Eclipse where they're pitching tents and setting up for battle. So great. Not a problem.
Good about that.
Super great. It's all going to go perfectly to plan. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Sean Salvatore.
Ooh, thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ow. Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh, thank you to Ashlyn Vogel.
Ooh. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh, thank you to Danielle Burke.
Pew, pew. Thank you to Janae Bennett.
Ooh, thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ow. Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh, and last, but certainly not least, thank you to Emily Ozera.
Pew, pew, pew.
So I have a fan fiction for you. This
Hell yeah.
is by the author Vix Leonard. It is titled The Ghosts That We Knew. And this is, this has Elijah and Elena in it because the way that he looked at her this episode hurt me. The summary of this is, how many times can he watch a woman he loves destroyed? There's only one chapter. All right. His relationship with Elena was strictly business, a means to an end to find and murder Nicholas. Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that, by the way. To avenge Finn, Cole, and Rebecca. He didn't know when it changed. Elijah liked Elena, thought she was smart, and clearly placed the safety of her family above her own, which he respected. Though he had no intention of letting Nicholas actually sacrifice Elena, Elijah believed he would be regretful if Elena died in the crossfire. Even when she put the dagger in his heart, Elijah did not begrudge her for the action. He underestimated her, and it was something he would not do again. After Katerina, Elijah did not put much weight in the words of Petrovas. So when she swore she would return to the Lockwood mansion, Elijah expected her to stay away. Her return stirred something in Elijah, brought back a belief in people he thought died long ago. Elena Gilbert wore their faces, spoke with their voices, even managed to find herself embroiled in a love triangle between two brothers. But Elena was different. End scene.
Damn.
The way that beautiful actor looked at her sometimes this episode, it hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me, and it was very good and beautiful. And I will also not be calling Klaus Nicholas, because fuck that.
Yeah.
It won't be happening. Well, friends, thanks for making us watch this ridiculous show.
Yes.
Tell your friends, and go watch Twisters. You'll like it.
Yeah.
Go do that before next week's episode. But as we sit here in the Pacific Northwest,
Get bit.
ooh.
Ow.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.